Dudley Moore, and welcome to Concerto. We're going to hear some of the greatest music ever written in this series, performed by some wonderful soloists and accompanied by Michael Tilson Thomas and the London Symphony Orchestra. And to start us off, we're going to hear a man whom I heard maybe 30 years ago when he was first starting his solo career and was still playing in an orchestra. And I kept on thinking to myself, who is playing this wonderful flute? These extraordinary sounds, where are they coming from? And it was, of course, from the flute of James Galway, who is a very famous soloist now and very much a household name. Add to that the equally renowned Spanish harpist, Marissa Robles, and you have a performance of the Mozart Flute and Harp Concerto that is second to none.
Together, please, the opening tutti.
Mozart's music is basically fun, and you know the first movement, for example, where it starts off like a trumpet call, and then there's this scale up with the orchestra, and then comes this very elegant ding 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 dee da dum da 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 ding 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 dee. It's almost like welcomes you into the piece.
It's not that Mozart did things that other people didn't do, it's just he did them so much better. The voice leading is perfect, the whole arrangement of it is perfect, because he had such a great mind. He could see all the possibilities and eliminate all those which were not the best.
Well, I'll believe you, thousands wouldn't, Michael.
Mozart actually made 2 trips to Paris. The first time, he was very young. He was in that stage of his life when he was sitting in Marie Antoinette's lap or kissing her.
Oh, I remember Marie, yeah.
And the next time he went back to Paris, he was now a young man, 22 years old. He was really searching for work. And one of his pupils was a young harpist, an aristocrat. And her father was a dilettante aristocrat flutist. And he wrote this concerto for them, and it was actually for the daughter and the Count de Guines, or the Count de Guinness.
Count de Guinness, no wonder James loves playing this particular piece.
Can you live with that, Mike? Play it for me one time, how you like it.
Suspend.
I'll plant that. I'll think about that over lunchtime and change it. Right, so G or...
Does it bother you at all, the fact that Mozart was not really fond of the flute when he wrote? I'm sure that the flute that he wrote for was very different.
Oh, it was.
The flute that you played.
It was. But so was everything in those days, you know. Volkswagens weren't invented.
No refrigeration.
No.
A flute going off must have been a tremendous, you know, pong.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it had more to do with Mozart not being paid by the Comte de Guinness who commissioned this particular concerto.
You think so?
I mean, he was only writing these concertos for money in order to subsidize bigger things, like an opera. So that's why I think he hated the flute, because he didn't get the loot out of these guys.
Mozart actually was somewhat disparaging about the talents of these 2 musical amateurs.
Tantes.
He knew they were not exactly the most sophisticated or the most musical avant-garde of their time. And he wrote a work that was thoroughly accessible, very entertaining, very decorative, but he restrained somewhat the musical language of this piece. Now, meanwhile, he wrote a piece which is one of the most difficult pieces in the whole repertoire for harp, because it does make such enormous demands, technically.
There are some bits in this that are incredibly difficult for the harp. And when you see Marissa playing them, it's a real scream. She sits there knitting away, you know.
But you know, knitting, to my opinion, instead of making like a harp, would make noises like that.
Very nice, I like that.
Was
that your opus 45? Yeah.
But hopefully, you know, that sounds better than knitting, I think.
I think so, I think so.
Well, tell you something about this. This is the
Do you
first
have
time.
to?
No, well, no. It'll give you some idea about Mozart's confidence in this young girl who played the harp, because
Yeah.
you remember she was a young kid, and he just wrote really virtuoso harp bits. So you play the harp on the piano, and I'll play the flute, and we'll go to the next
Okay.
big tutti.
Okay, great.
Right?